Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about what are my impressions of Nairobi, Kenya after 1 month, actually a little bit over a month. And the most important question is this someplace that I could actually live? I've gotten a lot of those comments in the last month or so, and so I want to talk about that in today's video. Stick around.
I'm tired of waiting here. Same four walls, same fading year. Got these plans stuck in my head. Southeast Asia calling me instead. Bangkok nights in Bali shores.
All right, guys, so before I begin, I do want to mention that I had to do a passport renewal here in Kenya. Now, a couple of things people ask, why didn't I do that in Thailand? Well, I was still on a tourist visa there, and I wasn't sure about the time frame, if I had enough time to do it before I had to exit. And so I figured, okay, Kenya, I get 90 days upon arrival, or not upon arrival, I had to apply for the visa. And so I figured, okay, that's gonna be plenty of time. So anyway, what I did is made an appointment online at the embassy before, this was while I was in Bangkok still, and went in basically the day after I arrived here. With my passport photos that I got in Bangkok ahead of time, filled out the paperwork, and I knew they would take my card for the fee. And I applied, and they said, okay, it'll take about 4 to 6 weeks. And I said, no problem, you know, I'll wait until it's here. And so during that time, I really got to get a feel of what it would be like to live in Nairobi. But before we get into that, so I just got my new passport a couple of days ago. Now the old one, they still give it to you. They just basically punch a hole in it. So you could still use it for ID and traveling within the country. You can't get out of the country until your new one comes in. Now I elected to get the passport ID card, and the passport ID card actually is going to come separate. So it's still not here. So I'm still waiting for that. But here in Nairobi, a lot of places you maybe pick up your passport at the embassy. Some places will mail it directly to wherever you're staying. And in Kenya, they wanted me to go to a DHL office and pay for the shipping fee for the embassy to ship it to that DHL location, and then I pick it up at that DHL location. That's how it worked here in Kenya. So every place is going to be a little bit different. Anyway, so that's how it worked, just waiting on the passport ID card. But I am off to a safari, and this is the one that I've been really wanting to do, and that's the overnight safari. I'm doing it like 2 or 3 nights, and I'll be filming all of that and taking you guys with. And then as soon as I get back, I'll be here like maybe 1 more day, and then I'm going to head off to Mombasa, which is the coast, and I'll be checking that out. Again, I don't know how long I will stay. I'll play it by ear. You know, I could spend a week there and say I don't like it, and maybe I want to come back to Nairobi, or maybe I choose to go back to Bangkok, or maybe I love it and I spend a whole month there. You know, so that's the great way of traveling like this. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get into it. What are my impressions about Nairobi, and could I live here? I guess the first thing I would say is, well, my first trip out here was 3 weeks, and I just did all the tourist stuff. I stayed in a hotel. So I really did not have an impression of what it would be like to live here. But this time around, and you can see the video up above, but I moved into like an apartment. And so I was doing things like buying groceries, laundry and cooking. And so doing all the stuff of, that you would do if you lived someplace. And so this time around, I really got a feel of, I guess, what it would feel like to live here. And I got to learn, I got the local SIM card this time. Last time I just had an eSIM. And so I kind of got into the groove of, living here and doing things that the locals would do on a daily basis. And again, Nairobi, I think, is not what most people expect. You've got high-rise apartments, very modern apartments like this one. Malls that I would say rival the best Western malls that we have. Traffic that will test your patience, and neighborhoods that feel completely different from each other. And depending on where you stay, your experience can be vastly different. So I'm staying in an area called Kilimani. I would recommend this area, Kilimani, or Westlands, or even Karen. Those are all really good areas. All right, so let's start off with the good. What do I like about Nairobi? I think Nairobi has excellent malls, good hospitals, solid internet. I got speeds of 100 up and 100 down here. Modern apartments. This is extremely modern. I got hot water in every single sink. Very modern. Food delivery everywhere. They have Uber Eats and they have Bolt, and they both deliver food and groceries and things like that. And you can live a very comfortable lifestyle if you're set up correctly. And over the last month, I've been set up very nicely here, and I really got into a groove. You know, I'd wake up in the morning, I would go to the gym, then I would go to the coffee shop, I'd come back, do a little bit of work, I'd head up to the mall for lunch and maybe meet up with some friends. Yes, I've met up with about 4 or 5 viewers since I've been here, and become friends with a few of them. And in fact, we're all hanging out. There's 3 of us who are going to go do the safari, and 3 of us who are going to head off to Mombasa and go check it out all together. So yeah, I've met friends, and I've got friends who've invited me out to lunch. And some of my expat friends here go and play pickleball a couple times a week. So there's really a big expat community here, and pretty close knit. But again, you got places like Kilimani, which is where I'm at, Westlands. But these areas feel modern, international, and very livable. And it isn't roughing it. It's not what people think of Africa. I've heard people comment say, I would never want to go to Africa. It just sounds too crazy. But, you know, it could be extremely modern, very safe, and very nice as well. So cost of living, if you're smart, Nairobi can be expensive, or it can be very reasonable. And really, honestly, Bangkok, it reminds me of Bangkok in this particular way. Bangkok can be very expensive. You can be $100 meals at high-rise rooftop bars, or you can be eating on the street for a couple of bucks. Nairobi is really the same way. It depends on your housing, your transport, your habits. Rent is cheaper than most Western cities, although I do find it more expensive than Bangkok for sure. Food can be very affordable here if you're not eating imported stuff constantly. Going out and buying steaks and lamb chops and the fruit and veggies, much cheaper even than Thailand. So I've been eating at home very inexpensively. And services like drivers, cleaners, and just general help are relatively inexpensive here in Nairobi. So if you live as a tourist, yeah, it's going to add up. If you live as a resident, then it certainly balances out, and I could see myself living here for around a $2,000 a month budget. I think I would live very comfortable on $2,000 a month. Could you do it for less? Absolutely. I tell people this who live in the Philippines too. For me, the comfortable spot for Bangkok, Thailand is about $1,500, and the Philippines was about $2,000 for me. And again, you can live cheaper, you can live higher. It just depends on the individual person, how often you eat at home, how often you go out, how often you date, imported foods, what kind of imported foods you're buying, things like that. So the people and the social energy here, I think Kenyans are genuinely friendly, curious, talkative, and very social. I find it very, very easy to talk to Kenyans. I think they are super friendly. I've enjoyed talking to the waiters, the waitresses at the real estate office. I've become friends with the real estate agent. Dating is fantastic. The girls are very friendly. I'm not going to get into the dating on this video. You can see my other videos for that. But overall, it's very easy to have a conversation here. There's this energy in Nairobi. Sometimes it's chaotic, like some of the drives with the traffic, chaotic. Sometimes exhausting, you know, sitting in an hour in traffic. But it's alive, and you certainly don't feel invisible here in Nairobi. Now, one of the things that I really love is that you're in this big metropolitan city, but there is nature everywhere. I've been on nature hikes, like about 6 of them, all within, you know, like the Nairobi area. And if you've seen my YouTube shorts, then you've seen some of them. But just some beautiful waterfalls, beautiful walking areas, There's a safari right within the city, the Nairobi National Park, the Nairobi Safari Walk, Karua Forest. You know, there's just a bunch of things here that are great if you're a nature lover. So again, you know, you're in a major city, but you can drive 20 to 30 minutes and be near nature. National parks, hiking trails, scenic viewpoints, and that's not something that many capital cities can offer, but Nairobi can. All right, let's talk about the bad. With every city, there's going to be bad, right? And this is no way a dig at Kenya or Nairobi. It's just some things that I think even Kenyans probably don't like. The Nairobi traffic is no joke. There are ways around it. You certainly learn, okay, listen, it's a Monday, don't leave at 8 a.m. in the morning. The traffic, everybody's going to be going to work. Okay, maybe leave around 11. Live in this certain area because it's more walkable. Like I have learned that Kilimani is nice, but the traffic to go to where I want, Westlands is usually where I hang out, there's traffic. So I figured after this stay here, if I come back to Nairobi, I would probably stay in Westlands, not here in Kilimani, even though it's a great area. It's walkable, it's safe, it's nice apartments, but I think I would rather be in Westlands. But again, being honest, the traffic is brutal here. It's really brutal, and most of the vehicles don't have aircon. But you don't really need air conditioning here. I wake up every morning cold, like I'm using the blankets. At nighttime, I'm cold, I'm using blankets. There's no air condition because you're at like around 6,000 feet elevation here. A lot of people don't realize that. And so the elevation keeps things pretty temperate year round, which is actually one of the things I really like about Nairobi. Short distances though can take forever. So again, live where you think you're going to spend the most time. For me, that would be Westlands. There's no rhythm to the traffic. It's just chaotic. I would call it, I don't even know if it's organized chaos, but maybe it is because things do move eventually, but it's interesting. And if you value peace and predictability, this will frustrate you, the traffic. That probably is just my #1 complaint about Nairobi. So you have to plan your day around traffic. All right, noise and chaos. Now, if I was comparing this to the Philippines, this is quiet compared to the Philippines. You don't have any stray dogs running around. I see no stray dogs, no stray cats, which is fantastic. I don't hear the barking. I don't hear roosters. I don't really hear karaoke, even though they have that and they have some music at bars and pubs sometimes late into the night. Just make sure you're not living right next door to a bar and you're going to be okay. Otherwise, I have quiet all night long. I sleep like a baby. But in certain areas, the city can be loud for sure. You don't want to be along a major road. You know, the cars, construction. There's a lot of construction going on in Nairobi right now. It's really being built up. People, music, as I mentioned, if you're next door to a bar or something, then you just want to make sure you're away from that or up in a high rise. So if you're sensitive to noise or overstimulation, Nairobi can certainly wear you down. You need a good apartment, a high floor, good insulation, or, you know, it could affect your mental state. But again, I chose a great location. I don't really hear anything at night. I sleep like a baby, like I said, so it's a matter of just choosing the right location. Now, security awareness is real here in Nairobi. You don't walk around careless here. With that being said, I walk around now. At the very beginning, I was like, I guess I shouldn't walk around, but then I saw so many foreigners walking around, no problem, all over the city. And so I started walking around. It's no problem whatsoever. People are friendly. It's safe. No problems. Just don't walk around with your new iPhone, in your hand, because then you're just asking for somebody to snatch it on a motorbike and drive off. So as long as you stay alert, watch your phone, choose neighborhoods very carefully. And there's a lot of good neighborhoods here. Use Uber instead of random transportation. It's not paranoia, it's awareness. And most expats who get into any kind of trouble will usually ignore this. Now, I talked to a viewer the other day. He has been living here since 2017, married to a girl from Uganda. and loves his life here and has never had a phone stolen or anything. In fact, he's only one time witnessed a guy carelessly on his phone, somebody grabbed it, a motorbike driver, and actually a bunch of other motorbike drivers came in and helped retrieve the phone back. So even Kenyans, they don't want to see that happen either. Now, systems can be a bit inconsistent here. Some things work great, some things don't. You do have power outages here, like the Philippines. Not as bad as the Philippines. Dumaguete was absolutely horrible. But I've had the power go out here, and but we have a generator, so it's just flip the switch and everything's back on, no problem. So again, you may want to protect yourself with a place that has a generator. But appointments, deliveries, timelines, African time is a real thing, just like Philippines time and Asian time. But you learn patience quickly. This is definitely not a place for people who need everything exactly on schedule. But again, neither would the Philippines or a lot of places in Asia. So the final question is, could I live in Nairobi long term? Yes, I definitely could live in Nairobi long term. I've already learned how some things work. Again, like I said early on, I would want to live in the Westlands area. That's probably where I would want to be situated. I would definitely get into more routines, the gym. I probably would go to the golf driving range once or twice per week, maybe even join the pickleball thing. You know, eventually you stop the dating and you find a good girl, and maybe you're spending more time at home, you're cooking at home more. But absolutely, I could live in Nairobi. Absolutely. I would have no issues, no different than me living in Bangkok or the Philippines, to be honest. I could live here just as easily as any of those cities. But again, it would be only under specific conditions. I would need the right neighborhood. Westlands is where I would want to be. A quiet, secure apartment, a flexible schedule, which I have, and a calm daily routine, which I pretty much have anyway. This is not a city I would want to grind in nonstop. Like if I had to commute to and from work on a daily basis and I had this really busy schedule, it probably would drive me crazy. But luckily, I'm pretty much retired for the most part, and I don't really have to deal with that. But as a base, maybe. With travel breaks, with trips to places like Mombasa, which I can't wait to see next week. Nairobi definitely rewards people who are adaptable, think long term, build systems, and don't fight the environment. All right, so why am I going to Mombasa next? I kind of want to check it out because it's a totally different environment. We go from high elevation, cooler weather to lower elevation to totally different like geography. It's like white sand beaches and warmer weather. It is a slower pace, coastal energy, less traffic for sure, and more of a balance. So Nairobi is definitely powerful but intense, so I definitely want to check out Mombasa, which is the other key area where expats live in Kenya. And sometimes you definitely need a contrast to really kind of understand a place. I need to go there and then here and really kind of weigh them out. It's two different type of living situations. And then you see what would work for you best. Maybe it's living in Nairobi, or maybe it's just going to Mombasa for little mini vacations. So my final thoughts on it, Nairobi definitely is not for everyone. But if you're open-minded, street smart, you're looking for something different, willing to adapt, and most of these I would say about almost any place that you would go to, it can offer a very unique lifestyle. In my next videos, I'm going to break down costs, neighborhoods, dating, in daily life in a lot more detail. And we'll see how Mombasa compares. Hey, if this video helped you guys, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the bell notification so you're notified every time I come out with a new video. And also share it if you find it useful. And as always, please drop a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are and opinions if you've been here. If not, any questions you may have. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao.
Southeast Asia calling me instead. Bangkok nights and Bali shores. Sick of dreaming, want something more. Pack your bags, don't hesitate. Geo, let's go before it's too late. Time keeps slipping away from us. Keep living like this. Away from us.